This is us heading round the corner. It's the 18th.
Where's that then? Are you going into the King's Gallery?
The King's Gallery? I don't think so. I don't think they'd let us in.
I've never been in Holyrood.
Have you not? I've been there. I went to a garden party, and look, I wore this bracelet as an act of defiance.
Nothing's happening over yonder.
Yeah, we're outside Holyrood, which of course, no surprise, we've been in there several times. What with us being
done that.
Been there, done that, had the tour and the reception. And it doesn't.
God, yeah, the reception was good.
It was very good. Oh, look at the colour of the Arthur's seat, Salisbury Crags, and look, even the reflection in the pond is amazing. And it's an hour at least until the thing starts. So, but I see some flags in the distance. So how are you feeling 10 years from the day?
Such a bloody wasted opportunity. What a waste of. You
Totally.
think?
Oh yeah.
We just think where we'd be now after that, and then if England had taken themselves out of Europe, okay. I mean, maybe they wouldn't have, given it if we'd been gone, but you know, we just would have been settled, a bit more settled into being our own nation, and 10 years we'd have got a few things sorted out.
Oh, I just can't get over the fact that you get the opportunity to design your own country.
Yeah.
And half of us go, oh no, it's a bit difficult.
It's a bit difficult,
and
or I'm a bit frightened.
What's interesting from the polling is that a lot of it is fear, and Project Fear we know was an absolute thing. Yeah. It wasn't because they've got any great affection for the Union, it was because they were frightened of coming out. So that to me is something we should then be making a real effort to reassure.
I mean, it's hard to know how to do it, isn't it? I mean, if I haven't already persuaded, especially our age group, and they're still not coming round, it's like, what else? Sometimes I just think, well, what else can we say?
Well, I mean, that suggestion that keeps coming up about what about having a JERS that is for independence? Why can't we have that? Because then every time somebody says, and I saw loads of replies to tweets, there was some dreadful stuff today, going, oh, what would you do about the deficit? And I thought, well, surely you've got a link now. By now you can just go, this is what we do.
Yeah, I know.
There's Marlene getting a GoPro out. GoPro. It's a lovely evening, absolutely lovely evening. Now that's Christians for Independence over there. We've done a couple of events for them.
Steve Thompson with his back to us.
Is it? Oh.
Just waiting, hopefully, for one or two more of our folk. We said we would meet here at 6:30, so and then go down.
You with those?
No.
They're good, though, isn't they? Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. So how are you feeling after that general election result?
I mean, it wasn't surprising really, and a lot of independence supporters just didn't turn out, I don't think, and they didn't turn out because it wasn't really an independence election, not really. I mean, I know the SNP had that in their manifesto, you know, saying it was for it, but there wasn't that kind of real feeling. So there's a whole lot of people, I believe, who support independence, and they just didn't come out.
And maybe some of them also voted Labour.
And I think that happened this time, and they probably thought, well, we want to get rid of the Tories. Well, what have they got, of course? They've just got more Tories.
It's a bit of a shock that so many people voted Reform. I mean, I must say, I was really shocked.
Young folk as well, apparently.
I mean, I also thought, well, probably some of them are Tory voters, and then they thought, okay, Tories are out, so might as well vote Reform. But that is pretty shocking.
It's not good.
I mean, if that happens again in 2026, there'll be Reform MSPs in there.
I'm pretty sure there will be. I mean, I can't see that not happening, given that you need 5%, and they're looking like more than that. And that's why I think the independence parties have got to work together. We don't need any more of this silly antagonism and childish antics. I don't like him or her. We've really got to pull together, and CFI, we've been talking about this, and we see it as one of our main aims over the next while, is to try and unify people. And our route to India, of course, is that we should use the Scottish Parliament, we should use every single election, not just a one-off and say 26 will be an Indie election. Well, if we don't win that, the next one will be, and the next one, and the next one. And we need to make sure the SNP, ALPA, the Greens, they all work together, or the unionist parties will wipe the floor with. I was at an event Tuesday evening run by the National with a video to see ourselves, and a Q&A after it, and Keith Brown was there, and I asked the question about giving folk a target, because folk were saying in the audience, young folk will not get involved unless there's something exciting to do. Well, that's the target of an election, or you're not going to get a referendum, so use the electoral system. I said, well, why not give them the target in 2026? And Keith Brown said that he didn't think it would be accepted because it's only half a vote if you base the actual percentage on the list side of it. But of course it wouldn't be, because you would also be getting a majority of MSPs. So you get both.
You would just count them all, really, wouldn't
but
you?
that was Keith's answer, and he said, he also said, I'm SNP, so I'll be both votes SNP. But that surely is putting SNP before Scotland. And we shouldn't be doing that. We should all be putting Scotland
You've
first.
argued for that along for a fair number of years.
Quite a few now, since 2020.
I remember that.
But if you've got a system, then you use that system. I mean, look at Westminster. Keir Starmer, 32% of the vote, and a huge majority. I
Free
mean,
football tickets,
you know,
free glasses. I mean, I've had to pay for my new glasses.
That's terrible.
Looks like there's quite a few people there already. I can see quite a few flags over there. I'll sort that round, so if we speak to anybody, I'll need to try and find Lynn and Neil with the Stones. They've been here all afternoon. They were at over at Colonial Headquarters earlier. Oh, there's Julian. Good evening, you here again? It's your favourite corner.
Yes, yeah.
Beautiful evening.
1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, 1, 2.
Don't think I could walk up there though.
No.
Did it in my youth.
The other one that didn't, I think it's died down.
Can't see the listings.
What size is that? That's medium. That's a t-shirt, yeah.
We've got a pod here then. Are you podding?
How are you?
I'm alright here. How are you? Nice to see you too.
And to feel you all around, and to take your hand across the sky.
How are you, Marlene?
This is good, isn't it? It's like a trick point.
Well, that's what you and me do, like.
Behind your smile, everywhere I look, your eyes are fine. Fresh and gay, guide the road and seek the Lord, for their little voices for campaign. They may well the body talent, much before when the dragons closely fall. Your feelings make the demon come, mourn your ships sailing in the gloomy dawn. Broken families and hearts repaired will cast Scotland away in men. Black and white into the mermaid, the profile barracks of the Mr. Bay. side, I might as well try and catch a wave.
Oh, these are lovely. This is, I believe in Scotland.
How many words in it? How many M's in immigration?
2.
A multi-party Republican country. Swishing trees. This is a lovely idea.
Oh, hello there. Are you going to make a wish for me?
You certainly will.
Brilliant.
Do we have to give you money, or is it just just wish? Right, let me put this.
There's a wee wish card.
What a lovely idea.
There's a wee, what mine? Oh, somebody much more creative than me. There's a pen. It looks as if it might work. But they don't all work. Hello. I'm on screen.
You are indeed on
Not
screen.
mine, because I've.
There's a pen. Thank you very much, Fiona and
So
Marley.
whose ideas was this?
I
Yourself
suspect,
or?
no, we were tasked with the job
yes, tasked.
of minding the wishing trees, and then my partner, who was also tasked with it, wandered off and left me.
So that's what men do.
And of course now he's chatting.
Yes,
So
I know.
I'm doing perfectly
Whereas
well.
you're getting on and
But
being
I'm
filmed, you know.
being I'm being filmed and I'm doing my job.
But it's great, isn't it? It's just lovely.
When I was
idea.
up on Carlton Hill at Beltane, because I'm a bit witchy
I was
like
there
that.
as well.
Were you?
Aye.
They had wishing trees there. Did you see them? Yeah. And it was a lovely sort of arch, a Wiccan arch, and the trees. I think at the end they burnt them, and all the little wishes went up to witchy heaven. It was lovely.
I quite like the atmosphere of this though. It's quite. It feels a wee bit festival-y, isn't it? A bit chilled. I think I like this approach better than many others that I've been.
We've been talking about, you know, the kind of events that, kind of the ones that attract people, but also the ones that which work best. And there was a Hope Over Fear march on Saturday in Glasgow, which I went down. I mean, I doubt if there was 500 people in it. I mean, there was some good stalls, and you know, and there was a few good speakers as well, but you know. It's a bit, whereas before that would have been a big event. Whereas up the road at Cali University, there was a day's conference.
I went.
I had a ticket, I should have been there, and
I went,
things conspired and I didn't. So how did that go?
There were some really good speakers, without a shadow of a doubt, it was really good speakers, but it was very much a day for the left.
It's contrary.
Yeah, that's right, and which is fine for me. But there was a bit that reminded me of the left fighting with itself. You know, the purity of it, the purity. I mean, so there was a lot of academics who were very pure in their ideological position around the left and independence, and I felt there was no room for pragmatism. So that was quite interesting, and it reminded me of my early days in the Labour Party when I was a young woman, where you get fed up with all these guys fighting with one another. So it felt a wee bit like that. I mean, there was some really good discussion. John Curtis was fabulous as usual.
Yes,
very
that's
animated.
the one thing I thought I must make sure
They have filmed it.
listen to that.
They have filmed it, so it will come up at some point. So that was really good. So I think what was really nice, there was a good debate between Jonathan Shafi and Alan Smith at the end, with two completely different positions. Alan come from a really don't care how we get independence as long as we get it, and saying no, I'm up for pragmatism. Jonathan Shafi saying no, we need to design the Scotland we want so that we know what we're going to get. And that's a horse and cart thing for me. But it was a good day and I was stimulated by it.
There we have. This is my wish on the wishing tree. I wish for an independent, fair, green, successful Scotland. ASAP. Hiya.
Hello. They're not talking back, are they?
No, not yet. That's never a good sign, is it?
I'm going to take a picture.
Hi, Lesley.
Hi.
you wishing for, Marlene?
Well, I don't know. I'm just writing stuff down at the moment.
So look at some of these. So some of these are neater than others, aren't they?
Very similar to.
Determined, cheerful.
Oh, that's good. A friend of mine texted me this morning and said, I woke up and I was greeting.
Oh no, nothing like that. If something's worth doing, you do it till it's done. And nobody's told me yet why I shouldn't be doing it to my satisfaction. And so why would I not be happy to be here?
You got any thoughts about, what might help going forward, especially the next couple of years going forward? I'm thinking, there's an election for this place coming up.
There are some things that are positive, like the things that Gordon is doing. But there's also some things that some people will be unfortunate. I have a member of the family whose grandchildren are beginning to approach university age. Now, if they find that they not only have to look after accommodation, but they've got to think about tuition, that will make a big difference. And to many people, of course, they can see, the unfairness of taking away the winter heating allowance, wasting money on means testing, instead of just giving a universal benefit and then taxing those who don't need that.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, often means testing itself it becomes a big part of the cost of the benefit.
And so, I'm a left-winger, I always will be. Why not? But I'm looking at Labour and I'm thinking,
not very left.
They're not what I think of Labour.
Sorry. Over here.
Rally marking 10 years of the Scottish Independence Referendum.
We're all singing all
Yes, there's a nice warm bit. Again, this is twice a year.
Hello there, Greg.
How you doing? This is good, this is cheery.
This is good, isn't it?
I like music.
It's good. Do you mind being up?
You've got into interview mode now, aren't you? You can't help it, lass.
It's good, and I mean, look at it, there's such a lovely background to that on a night like this. It's just gorgeous.
Did you know that post-independence it'll look like that 24 hours a day? We'll have to paint it, mind you, and floodlight it, but no, that's worth it.
With floodlight,
we could have great call out the banners like we did in Game of Thrones and put them down the crags, couldn't we? We could do that with big soul towers on that particular day when it all happens.
Yeah, not too big long banners. It kind of reminds me of certain southern German cities and rallies and things, and let's not overdo that.
Okay. Let's not go too far there. So how long do you reckon?
Independence in about...
I must admit, I've got a wee bit disheartened myself of late. Just partly that election.
Oh, we all have that. Of course we have.
And then I kind of think, so SNP have been in power all that time. That takes a hell of a lot out of people because it's such a tough job. But I just think we need a few big ideas, at least for the next 2 years.
I think we have been setting ourselves far too high barriers. If we get a 2/3 majority of vote in the opinion polls, then or if we get a super majority at a Westminster election, never mind the majority, but a super majority, then. And frankly, I'm getting more and more inclined to any election where we get the biggest party in this corrupt electoral system. They set it up. We've become the biggest party. Then that's a mandate. And you know what? Just as political parties come and go at Westminster, so can independence and independence governance in Scotland. But if we slip back and then go forward, it's going forward that counts, and use it.
True, actually. Yeah, it's true.
A wee bit of courage of our convictions. I'll be interested to see how the dust settles. Nobody wanted to start making big noises about the 26 Scottish Parliament elections right after the general election. Although, you know, you look at the figures behind it, and it wasn't the government. But nonetheless, nobody wanted to do it. But I think we need to get our act together on that soon.
Actually, it's not long. It's not a long time to be, you know, to get things organised and get a few good ideas out there.
Yep.
No.
That's the inbuilt majority that England has in Westminster. It's simple, basic arithmetic. And now, with the general election over, just what is Scotland being offered? More austerity, only this time wrapped in Labour red.
And say, well, we yet, and say, well, we yet, we flip and die to Providence, and say, well, we yet.
And it's great to be reminded. I could feel you guys were singing Hamish Henderson's Freedom Come All You at the start, and all part your elbows. I can feel Hamish looking down at that and glowing. And that's important for us to remember, because there's so many people have come before us, conceptualized where we've got now, thought about our country, created its literature, its music, and they're all part of this, whether they're here today or not. Now, a lot of people are sort of have asked me, do you feel optimistic? And I might be a bit weird, but yes, I do, actually. Honestly, yes, I do. It may not come naturally to us as Scots, but it's time to look on the bright side. You know, right now, we're sitting with opinion polls that have about 50%, pretty constantly, support for independence. And yet, when you get on the media, you're asked every time if independence is dead. Now, there's a wee logical problem with that. How can something that attracts the support of half the population of our country be dead? And if it is, then what about the other side of the equation? Because if the union's only attracting 50%, maybe it's dead. Now, I know that if you're a movement that's trying to create change, you have to do better than the status quo. And I mean, that's where we're stuck. But, you know, if half the population equals a dead movement, I'm a member of the House of Lords. And I'm absolutely not. And the other thing, just while we're at it, is no independence supporting Scot is. And that's a line in the sand that was drawn more than 10 years ago that remains. That parcel of rogues, no, not for us. It's corrupt, it's out of date, it's archaic, it's part of what's totally wrong with Britain. And we haven't been tempted for a minute. Now, there are problems with the independence campaign at the moment. There's no point denying it. There's the damaging court case that's hanging out of the SNP. There's the Supreme Court ruling that the world's most powerfully devolved parliament. No, I was waiting for a louder laugh than that. Okay, you know, because, I mean, it's shocking that we're sitting beside a parliament, our parliament, and regularly we want this to be the world's most powerfully devolved or independent parliament. But come on, Douglas Alexander was saying it again today. It's a lie. This is not the world's most powerfully devolved parliament. I mean, if you want to look at any of the wee films, the Faroes, for example, the tiny little Faroes, has got the power to decide to remain outside the EU while Denmark joined. Now, I'd say that's pretty powerful. Douglas, you want to catch yourself on, lad. There's far more powerfully devolved parliaments than ours. We're nowhere near it. But anyway, we've got that problem that the Supreme Court has decided that effectively the world's most powerfully devolved parliament cannot consult its own citizens on the colour of the paintwork. That's how powerful this parliament is. It's not allowed. We've got a situation where membership of the SNP is down, votes for the SNP are down. You could be forgiven for thinking everything's down. Attendance at these marches is down, let's be honest. And of course, that's something that skeptics like to point out. I'm sort of looking at you, George Fawkes. I'm sure you're watching tonight because you seem to have nothing better to do of an evening than watch us do stuff, you know, but you're welcome. You're welcome. It's strange that the folk who quibbled about the vast numbers that were on the streets years ago are now touting those same numbers as evidence that everything's in decline. Whatever. Of course, if size matters, these marches are smaller. If youth matters, they're getting on with life until another powerful possibility arises. And without that moment, a goal or a vote, without power in the room, as it was in 2014, it's almost impossible to make a distant future goal matter to people more than the here and now, especially when life's become so difficult. But does that mean yes is over? You're some audience, and it's not even pantomime season yet. What do you like? Might divide you along the middle and start to get this thing moving. What I think it means is that young folk are keeping their collective powder dry. And the yesers of 2014 are perhaps beyond the heady stage, the exciting teenage years, and now have a deep, informed commitment to a different, better future for Scotland. It's not giddy, but it's unshakable. It's not temporary, it's permanent. It's still love, it's just not head over heels right now. And it's ready to go again at the drop of a seriously viable hat. Now, this phase that we're in, it might not be as dramatic as the marches, the meetings, the films, and the street stalls, everything you've put your energy into over the last 10 years. And it's nowhere near as vigorous as many of us would like. I'd like to ask, where's the SNP campaign on the theft of our energy resources right now? Our renewable energy is being stolen the way our oil and gas were removed, and we are saddled with the highest charges in the UK and the highest levels of fuel poverty in Europe. Where's the campaign? Where is the land tax to right the wrongs of feudal centuries? Essentially, to borrow a phrase of a pal of mine, where is the growl? If the SNP doesn't pay attention, this movement has the capacity to act. So be warned. But meantime, let's not turn our noses up at a solid, settled 50% plus, ready to be boosted when the moment arises, because we're still here and we are stubborn buggers. Now, 10 years ago, I stood almost on this spot in the aftermath of the no vote, trying to string a sentence together for TV cameras in the media village that was here. And in all of that melee, I looked down and saw the actor, Brian Cox. I'd managed to keep it going all the way through those interviews, but when I saw that friendly face, I started to greet. And I'll never forget Brian's response, because it's kept me going over the last 10 years. He put his hands on my arms, looked me dead in the eyes with that, should we just say, arresting Logan Roy kind of look, and said, "Lesley, the issues are not resolved." And he was totally right then. He's absolutely right now. Because 10 years on, all the problems with Westminster remain with knobs on. We've got, courtesy of Westminster, we have a massive energy theft, check. We have chronic fuel poverty, check. We have an economy ruined by Brexit, check. We have EU citizenship gone despite promises to the contrary, check. We are still using first past the post alone in Europe with Belarus, check. We are still hosting nuclear weapons on an unwilling Clyde, check. We are still unable to put democracy first and back a ceasefire in Gaza, check. So, we're also hearing Westminster moan about us creating the constant distraction of independence instead of getting on with bread and butter policies, when they have the means to end that distraction now by granting us the chance to have a second vote. It's crazy. And of course, we're still watching designer dresses get supplied to the next Prime Minister's wife. Check. It's like Boris and Carrie all over again. So today we are doing a weird thing. We're celebrating a defeat because despite everything, we are still yes. And that's a victory. It's a victory against cynicism, dejection, and the combined efforts of unionism and the entire media bar one outlet, The National, which is also 10 this year. It's also a victory because research makes the case for optimism. As Professor Sir John Curtis, let's give him his full Sunday name, has told us just in the last week, yes lost the ballot, but it won the campaign. Now that's not the view of a card-carrying yeser. That's an objective view by an academic. He thinks that years of polling that he's surveyed leads him to say that Scots think leaving the UK and joining the EU will be better for Scotland's economy than the opposite. That's quite a place to have reached. And if we look at another academic, Professor Lindsay Patterson of Edinburgh University, again, not at all a supporter of independence, but he has done years of survey analysis since 1979 and come up with this. Scottish nationalism is not a rebellion by the left behind against elites. The core are well-educated, liberal-minded graduates, and independence has come to be associated with the future. It reflects Scottish nationalism's rhetoric that Britain is stuck in the past. That ideological message is now entrenched amongst younger voters. Well, glory be. Indeed, Professor Patterson predicts 60% plus support for independence by the early 2030s. Now, of course, it's all not in the bag. But perhaps just for one day, for this day, we can all stop beating ourselves up. Will Nicola Sturgeon and Alex Salmond ever speak to each other again? Frankly, for me, it's just not a big priority. Have we got a certain route to independence? No. Is anything in this life certain? No. Are the Scottish media covering this rally? No. Are they bored with Scotland's democratic deficit? Have they written off half a population? And can that make yesers sometimes feel hesitant and small? Yeah. But don't, because a minor miracle is happening. Despite all of this, we are still yes. Should we complain? Should we complain because the SNP leadership doesn't set the heather alight? Should we worry that somehow Scottish Labour might win every seat in Scotland? It's not going to happen. And should we care if the experts decide that the very word yes is last season? I'm still yes. Yes is the most positive word in the world apart from I. Are Gaelic and Scots more colourful and powerful than received pronunciation? Yes. Is a wet Thursday in Saltcoats replete with possibility? Yes. Is a country awash with wind, wave, tide and hydropower and 2 days of sun a tasty proposition? Yes. Is this country more beautiful, resourceful and welcoming than most? On a good day, are we all Jock Tamson's bairns? Do we thank bus drivers when we get off? Are we still European in our heads and hearts? Is our future amongst the other small countries of the North Atlantic? It's astonishing and admirable that people can watch this tonight at home, courtesy of the hard-working volunteers at Independence Live, who need you to chuck cash into their crowdfunder so they can continue to do this work. And you will do it, won't you? So, finally, do we all send our love to Janie Godley, who's Afi Ne Wheel? Has a generation passed since 2014? Is it priceless hypocrisy for Labour and the Tories to ignore the Brexit-related case for independence? And friends, 10 years on, are we 100% ready for independence now? Yes. Thank you.
I just wanted to come up again at the end and actually see how many hardy souls made it to the end of the event. Thank you very much for your support, for your hard work. Couple of things I want to finish off with. Okay, so what next? What do we do next? Well, on the 28th of this month, Believe in Scotland is going to hike for a campaign day. We've had about 7 of these already. We take people from all over the country and we hit a town and we leaflet every single door in the town and we put loads of stands on the streets. We have an 8-page leaflet specifically for the borders that says what independence will do for the borders. We are taking the fight to the areas where yes support needs to rise. We had about 100 people, if you include the Yes Bikers at Moffat. Today, thousands of people have been sharing the Still Yes hashtag. So on your way home, or when you get home, share the Still Yes hashtag. But I've got a bit of an announcement. You know that we've launched a crowdfunder earlier this month. When campaigning costs money, I'm not asking you to donate to it. What I'm going to tell you is that we set a target of £60,000 over 5 weeks of this crowdfunder. We're 6 days into it, and we're only a few £100 away from hitting our 5-week target. Don't let anyone tell you there isn't an aptitude to actually campaign for independence. Thank you if you've given to that crowdfunder already. I've put this image up here. You may see that on your way home. We have got billboards across the Central Belt. We've got the Clydeside Expressway with a Still Yes image. And this image here, Independence is Normal, is right across Edinburgh right now, and about 9 or 10 electronic billboards. We're already spending the money that people have given to that crowdfunder. So thank you very much. We campaign when others complain. We are Believing Scotland, and we're going to make the difference. You are Believing Scotland, and you're going to make the difference. Thank you very much, and good night.
Well, what a lovely evening. Well done, Believing Scotland, for organising this, and well done to everybody who did your own thing up and down the country. This could have been a real miserable day, but instead it felt uplifting, it felt positive. Thoroughly enjoyed it. If you want to see the full event with all the speeches, it was live streamed by Independence Live, so you can get that on their YouTube channel. We will also be putting out a podcast version of all the speeches on Tuesday, so if you'd like to listen again, you can do. And look out for our other videos to mark this anniversary, including our interviews with Greg Moody and Charlie Stewart. And let's hope that the next 10-year anniversary will be standing in an independent Scotland. Thanks for watching, everybody.